We on?
We're on. This is it. That record got me high.
Episode 5. That's Rob Elba.
That's Barry Stock.
What are we discussing today?
We're discussing, I don't know, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah.
This is the podcast where we take classic records, and we dig into them and we talk about them.
That's right. And I was going to say allegedly classic records, but that's yet to be determined.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into this now, because I don't like Barry's had an attitude the entire when I told him last week that I wanted to do Hüsker Dü.
Right.
Flip your wig.
Right.
He gave me one of those.
Yeah. Nah, it's okay.
And I'm gonna go further. I'm gonna pull the curtain aside. Barry's wife Susan.
Yep.
Lovely woman who I love.
Yeah.
Messaged me.
Unprompted by me.
No, I didn't think she did it because of you. I knew she was doing it on her own.
She's quite capable of doing it.
And I appreciate the passion. I want to say that right away. I appreciate the passion. But imploring me to do
a different record.
A different Hüsker Dü record than Flip Your Wig.
That's right.
Why aren't you doing
Did we even say that we're doing Flip Your Wig? Flip Your Wig is the record we're doing. Hüsker Dü's, which album was it?
Classic. Their fourth record. Fourth record. There's a lot of reasons I did. First of all, let me just say right now, I love New Day Rising. Could probably be my favorite Hüsker Dü record.
Okay.
It was the first one that I heard.
Yeah.
The first 5 songs of New Day Rising cannot be denied. You listen to that record, if you heard it for the first time,
right, and
you're listening to that, it just blows you away. It's amazing. And the record before that, Zen Arcade, which they recorded like just months before that one. They put those 2 records out really close.
Yeah,
is a masterpiece. Is also great. Has a lot of great stuff. Flip Your Wig, spoiler alert, is also a great record.
Okay.
And I thought, I'm not just picking for my records that I pick. I'm just telling you how I work. I don't know how Barry operates.
All right.
But how I work is I think of what would be most fun to dig into and to talk about. Mm-hmm. And for me, there's some things about Flip Your Wig that are interesting to me.
Okay.
So Barry's not convinced.
No. It's not that I'm not convinced. It's that I do have a history with the band of listening to them.
Right.
The first record I got was Everything Falls Apart. I had heard their version of Sunshine Superman, the Donovan song.
Oh, okay.
And so picked up that record, which is very much sort of a hardcore punk record. Fast, loud, fast, loud. And then I went to a record store, the infamous Record City in Orlando, and was walked in one day, and this friend of mine named Scott Roberts was at the counter, and he worked there because he was, I was not cool enough to get a job at the record store. He was. And he goes, "Hey, I'm going to play you something, and I want you to tell me who it is." And so he put on Never Talking to You Again of Zen Arcade.
Oh, okay.
And I said, wow, I have
Completely
no idea.
Different band than the band
exactly.
You
and he and frankly, Scott Roberts does not like loud, fast music. And he goes, "Yeah, this is that band Hüsker Dü." And I was like, "You're kidding?" He was like, "No." And there's this record, this double album they put out called Zen Arcade, and it's really great. So I think I bought it that day and took it home. And that was really when I was like, okay, now they're a force to be reckoned with. And that record, far and above any of their other records, is going to be the one I would pick as my in fact, if I only had to have one Hüsker Dü record, it would be that one for sure.
But you also liked New Day Rising after.
I liked New Day Rising, but I did not like it as much as Zen Arcade.
Okay. But, and I know Barry already told me this, I don't even know he didn't really care for Flip Your Wig, and he told me he didn't even listen to anything after.
It's not that I didn't care for it. I listened to it actually a lot when it came out.
Oh, okay.
It's that over time and listening to it now, it does not. It reveals the limits of the power trio, and this is the record where I think they, instead of sort of diversifying the sound, it was the first record where I'd say the sound was a limitation to them. And then it was also the first record of theirs that they self-produced. Because a guy named Spot from the SST house producer had done all the SST stuff up to that point, I believe.
And was not, I don't think it was any great producer. I mean, it's not like their record like New Day Rising sounds that great. It really doesn't.
No,
Parts of it sound horrible. There's some songs where just like the vocals are real muddy and buried, and you know, maybe that it actually, you know, just like a lot of things, it works because, you know, just because of the power of the songs, the power of the band, whatever.
Right.
So, but yeah.
The thing that bugs me about Flip Your Wig is, I think that my pet theory, and I don't think I'm totally off on this, it's the first record where the sound of the album actually reveals the schism between the two main songwriters in the band, and it reveals one person taking over and another person being sort of pushed into the background.
See, I don't hear that yet on this record. I don't see that. For me, I didn't get that. I didn't get that for this record. And also, I know you said to me this was the last one you listened to, and the next record, this was the last record on SST. They had already been signed. So this is kind of this record is a band like making it, sort of. A band like finally, like, you know, they're making
it's their Daydream Nation, because after Daydream Nation, Sonic Youth signed to Geffen. So.
Right. And they could have, I forget, Hüsker Dü signed to Warner, and Warner wanted to put this record on it, but they felt like they owed to be loyal to SST. They wanted to put this out on SST.
Right.
But I have news for you: the record they did next, Candy Apple Gray, is still a really good record. It's got some great songs on there. It's got probably one of the best Grand Heart songs ever on that one. And the Warehouse has a ton of great songs on it too. I mean, obviously, Warehouse probably shouldn't have been 2 records, a double record, but it has some great songs on it.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. I feel in a way you're falling now. I don't want to throw aspersions.
Cast aspersions.
But I don't want to cast them or throw them. Maybe I want to throw them a
right.
But a lot of
throw shade, cast aspersions.
A lot of people that are into the more indie underground music, they seem to have a thing when a band, it's almost like they don't want their bands to get that big. They don't want them to get popular. They want to get, and I'm telling you, I've never been like that. I always wanted my bands to get as big as possible.
Yeah.
When I heard Makes No Sense at All from this album, Flip Your Wig, I said, man, that's going to be on the radio. That's going to be a hit.
Well, me too. Yeah, that's what I thought too.
And it was, but college radio. They never crossed over to anything bigger. But I don't have a problem with bands, you know, getting big, becoming big. It rarely happens with bands I really like. It's just the way it just rarely happens.
Just to, you know, throw a little more in my direction.
Yes. This is
the early, you know, this was the first record, and they spent months in the studio to achieve higher quality production. So,
and I'm gonna say, and I know you're gonna disagree with me, but I understand. I remember when I first heard this, I said, "Wow, it sounds weird." The drums, definitely a questionable drum sound.
They sound horrible. The drums sound terrible.
I actually don't mind. I feel like this whole record as a whole, it sort of grew on me. And in listening to it, revisiting it this past week, I said, you know what? This record's awesome.
The songs, there's some great songs on here.
There's great song, and the guitars are like screaming loud. They're good. Yeah, the drums sound weird in parts, but not in every song. Some songs, they work a little better. I think the best one is the backwards instrumental.
Yeah, right. Right, the one at the end, one of the ones at the end. Now, my complaints about this record are sonic in a lot of terms, and I think the drums sound terrible, and I think the bass is inaudible. So, and I think that's
not true, because I was just listening to it, and you can hear it.
You can hear the bass, but if you listen to live recordings of the band from the same era, and where you can hear, the drums sound like drums. They sound like a drum kit, and the bass player is prevalent in the mix. It's a different band, and it's a different sound. And I was watching a Bob Mould interview today where he was talking about, well, you know, the records are special. They're kind of artifacts, and then the live thing is you know, really where the band shines. And I thought, they were. I think Bob Mould takes over on this record, the sound wise, because
I think so. The record is. They say it was produced by them, by the band, but I think it's pretty safe to say that
considering the guitar and the vocals and Bob's vocals are the loudest thing on the record.
I think you could.
So we should probably get into the tracks because we're gonna.
Yeah, and if me and Barry, like I said,
two cranky old guys talking
contentious,
about.
But I will say this: me and Barry are doing this once again. We're at the house of Brian Franklin, and we're across from each other at a table. So if one of us gets mad enough where they want to lunge across to the other guy, we probably wouldn't be able to do that. So I don't think that's probably not going to happen.
No. I'm not going to lunge.
No, I'm not. I was a little upset. I don't know. I was getting the underlying thing because you said something very passive aggressive to me when you came in. You said, I've been listening, because you came in with like this look on your puss. I said, what's up? And he said, I've been listening to Hüsker Dü. Like, that was
I have, actually.
Well, I have, but it's been a joyous experience for me.
Well, I researched this week's episode much more than I did any of the episodes. Like, I would say probably by a factor of 4.
Oh, wow.
Because the other records we've done, I'm familiar with and I love.
Right.
And this record, I wanted to make sure that my opinion that I had or what I brought to it, that I was, not.
Let me guess. You came at the conclusion that you were absolutely right.
No. I wanted to make sure that I felt, what I was hearing and what I was thinking about was legit and not, I wasn't just blowing foam out my ass.
Okay.
Which, I'm quite capable of doing.
He's known.
Yeah, exactly. So, flip your wig. Which is an expression that I looked it up, and there was some spurious information that it was like from the 17th century and had to do with, people wearing wigs and blah, blah, blah. And then the Oxford English Dictionary said, nope, first appears in the late 1950s, and it talks about, a hipster or somebody blowing your top. So,
I had a feeling. It sounds like kind of a hipster.
It is, or a hep cat. You're going to flip your wig. You're going to hold on, daddy-o, don't flip your wig.
But I feel like this song is their Here Comes Success. You know that Iggy Pop song?
Yeah,
This is their Here Comes Success. Because the song is kind of about them blowing up as a band in a way. And one thing I really love about this song is that it's I don't know if it's I think it may be the only Hüsker Dü song where him and Grant Hart actually trade verses. Trade off verses. And it's funny because the song is just credited to Bob Mould. But the verses that Grant Hart sing sound like something maybe Grant Hart would have written. But I'm thinking, true. But I'm thinking maybe Bob Mould wrote them for Grant, with Grant in mind that he was going to sing it. Yeah. But I remember just being excited when I heard the song. It's like, oh, cool, they're doing the dual thing. Like Bob Mould sings a verse and then Grant Hart sings, and I love his part is like, Sunday section gives us a mention. Grandma's freaking out over the attention. Now my friends abound. They're coming back around.
Well, they weren't friends. I mean, he's talking about fair weather friends.
Right. The long distance on the other end says, I need them for a friend. No matter what I choose, I'm the one they want to use.
Yeah. And that's Grant that sings that, right?
Yes, that's the Grant. Right.
And do I really care? I don't know.
Yeah.
And do we really know? They don't know.
Do we really care?
Right. Which is funny because last week's Days of Wine and Roses, the final track, someone said, what's the line in that song?
The Days of Wine and Roses.
Right.
Song.
She's on the ledge again. And
right. They keep saying it at the end over and over.
What does he say? I don't care. Oh, everybody says I don't care. Yeah, I don't care.
Oh, right.
Everybody says I don't care, but I don't care.
And this is Bob at the end. They were trading off at the end, and he just came. And do we really know? And do we really care? And,
right.
Grant singing "Flip Your Wig," and I really love this song as an opener to the record, and and like I said, I really love the fact that they were both singing on it.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things about Hüsker Dü. They were a band that had two amazing
Powerful
songwriters. Two
Yeah,
amazing
yeah.
songwriters,
Yeah.
amazing performers in the same band. Obviously, it's the thing that tore them apart because,
Yeah.
especially for Bob
Yeah.
Gould, I don't think he wanted to be in a band
No.
with another amazing songwriter.
No.
Which is fine, which is fair.
There's some interviews later on, one of which I dug up today, where it was an interview with Grant Hart where he was talking about. He said it never could be more than 55-45.
Right. Yeah, they could.
And
Yes, it was kind of a unwritten rule that he couldn't write. He had to write a little less than half of the songs. That
Well, I don't think it was unwritten. I think
it was
that,
actually.
I think
Okay.
it was explicitly stated. You don't get to write more songs on a record than me.
Right.
So,
And speaking of Grant Hart, we got
Every Everything.
The next song,
Track
we got
2.
Everything, track 2.
a Grant Hart song where he's talking about a girl, and she's softly spoken words of love. These are what she says to me. Honey, be a man. Get off your knees. And you could read a lot into that.
Right.
We're going to let that. We're going to leave that to your imagination.
When I first read that, I did read a lot into.
Yeah, I think you could read a lot into that.
But this is not. He writes a lot of guy-girl songs.
He
Sort of a
does.
guy talking about a girl. That's definitely his wheelhouse.
It is.
And this is one I love. He's got the songs where he sort of sings, and songs that he more sort of scream sings. And this is more of one of his screamer type songs.
Yeah.
But it's his traditional love, lust type song. It's always him lusting after
exactly.
someone.
Or some broken heart aspect, or some
Right.
unresolved feelings aspect to his thing. So yeah, and it's he never screams as loud as Bob.
No, and it's a totally different kind of delivery,
Right.
scream. Bob's
And he's got to play the fucking drums and do this at the same time, which is pretty impressive.
It is.
When you
It's
see him
very
do
impressive.
it.
Yeah,
way
it
more
is.
than playing the guitar and singing loud.
Right,
Playing the drums
exactly.
and doing this is pretty remarkable.
barefoot
All right?
too, playing the drums barefoot.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
By the way, Barry, we have this at some point. This has to come up. Barry plays in a band,
I
Mr.
do.
Entertainment and the Pookie Smackers.
That's right.
And they have a new record coming out.
That's
and
right.
there is a song on that record that I have heard. It's a great song, written by Mr. Entertainment himself,
Right.
Stephen Toth, called "Everybody's All Bob Mould."
And I'm Grant Hart.
And and I'm so Grant Hart.
I'm So Grant Hart. It's really called So Grant Hart.
Barry's in the band.
Yeah, the record's been a long time in the making, so yeah, I have to recall what went into making it, but yeah.
But
So
it's
Grant
great.
Hart.
It's a great concept because Bob Mould's songs seem to always get a little more. He would get a little more attention.
Yeah.
But everybody's all Bob Mould. But I'm so and it's funny because I sort of had the same thing because when I first gravitated to Hüsker Dü, I was definitely more Bob songs. They're
Yeah.
the ones that grabbed me first. But later on, as they went, I really appreciated Grant Hart's song, and I really appreciated Grant Hart later on after they broke up in his Nova Mob and
Yeah.
then solo. He put out some great solo records.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely, I would say, I'm still Bob Mould, but I'm Grant Hart also.
Yeah.
I'm both.
Okay, the next the hit single
Yes.
is next. Track 3 makes no sense at all, and I have tried to decipher who this might be about.
Oh, okay. Well, I think I feel like he writes a lot of songs where he's sort of pleading with someone else. It could be just a friend, or it could be someone he had a relationship with to get their shit together, or to get just he's sort of admonishing them about something and telling them they have to get their act together. And the way the way you're acting, it just makes no sense, And he has a lot of songs like that. I feel like where he's sort of aggravated with
He has a lot
other
of songs
people.
where he complains about people.
Yes.
And this is one of them. It just happens to be really melodic and great.
It's so great. I'll never forget. I saw Hüsker Dü up in Boston. I was living up in Boston. It was probably like 84, 85. And they were touring. New Day Rising had come out. And this hadn't even come out yet. But Hüsker Dü, they were putting out records at such a fast pace that by the time they were touring, they were already playing the new songs that weren't out.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they played a bunch of Flippy Wig songs, and they played this song. And I remember it's like an amazing, just hearing a band play it live for the first time, you knew that it was a great song. And I'm like, wait, what album is this off of? How do I not know this song?
Yeah.
And then it ended up being on the next record that came out.
Yeah, I probably I played the shit out of this song way more than anything else on the record, just because it's so catchy.
It's so catchy. There's no solo. There's no guitar solo in it because it's not needed.
Nope. Verse, chorus, verse, chorus. There, and there's a bridge, and then verse, chorus.
And this single was a great single because the B-side was the Mary Tyler Moore theme. Love is all around.
Love is all around.
And it's definitely worth. You should go to YouTube. I'm sure at YouTube you can find the video.
Available. It's not hard to find.
The video they put out for this song, it's actually they have both songs in the video. They did a video, sort of went from one to the other, and it's great. It's them playing and then just walking around.
Yeah, it's not. It's a very low budget affair.
Low budget, just walking around, but it's really good. And there's a great part in the video where Grant Hart tries to recreate Mary Tyler Moore throwing her hat.
Oh, yeah. And SST was not going to kick for a video budget of more like
but it's great, and I love the just the 1-2 punch of Make No Sense at All and Love Is All Around.
So you're not going to bite on who this, like an actual person this might be about.
Well, I don't know. Do you have theories?
Yeah.
One day someone's gonna get in touch with us and tell us that either you're spot on or you're full of shit.
The only person I can think of, it just occurs to me, it's Ian MacKaye, straight edge, from Minor Threat.
Oh, okay.
Because he was a straight edge, and that straight edge thing was around then. And this is someone who's, is an important. You're yelling so loud. I don't know why you want to tell me when I'm right or when I'm wrong. That's great. Did
you just come up with that on your own though? No clues at all?
Yeah, no.
Wow. Wouldn't it be awesome if that was right though?
Well, yeah, for both of their sake, I hope it's not true. The sound comes up again in this song. The sonic.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, this has the worst because it isolates the the snare fill.
There's a snare fill in there. Which sounds like one of those monkeys that you get at the store, like the little one in the 70s.
Right.
Like when you would bang it on the head and it would clap the things together, and so they worked really. I can tell that this was worked over a lot production wise. That they really wanted to. This one, it was sweetened. There's a lot of going on, but it's of its time. It's an 80s.
It's of its time. Yeah, that's true. That's very true because you could tell it was a band trying to sound more whatever, just trying to get more trying
to sound more merch, and
and just not quite knowing how to do it. Maybe they probably should have had a producer. Could you imagine if they had like an awesome producer, someone that knew how to capture the sound of them, because they were obviously a great band playing together. They were obviously could play together so good. So could you imagine? But
for me, I think Zen Arcade probably captures their sound the most effectively.
I agree. Yes, I agree. That's true.
All right.
We got two moves back to back.
Yeah, right.
From
another complaint song.
Hate paper. Yes, right. Well, that's it. The thing is, Bob Mould's songs is going to be railing about someone, complaining about something, and for the most part, Grant Hart is much sweeter, like sweeter songs. He's singing about someone. Maybe it's a lover that didn't treat him good, or he's apologizing, but he's just so much more sweeter and heartfelt, and that's his songs. And then Bob Mould, you could never. The thing is, you could just, without hearing the songs, you could read the lyrics.
Oh yeah,
and you would know who wrote which.
Yeah, it's no question. No question that he's. Hate Paper Doll. I'm guessing it's a woman. I've always assumed that this was a woman.
I guess you know what?
That's probably.
The words are cool. I'm going to be totally honest and say I was trying to see if I could wrap my head around it, and let me hear what you got, because the words sound great, but I have nothing.
You want it to be just like me now. Wanted it free now. You say you want it to be just like me now. Got on TV. Somebody's jealous of him. He's jealous of Hüsker, jealous of Bob, and what the attention they're getting. And so the attention thing comes up again.
Yes.
Sort of like they're,
It does. You're right. That's good. Actually, I think you're good. You're good at this, Barry. Do you have did you go, neither of us have degrees.
I have two AAs.
Oh,
I have a Florida and an Illinois AA.
Do you have one in psychology? Because you...
I enjoy one of my favorite classes was I had a psychology class.
Because you do psychology on these songs.
I do. Yeah,
You're good.
I try to. Try to figure out what's going on.
It's making me less mad at you than I was when we first started.
No, because you thought I was just going to come in and be like, well, I just don't like it. And so, right. No. I researched this one.
I appreciate that.
I have typed notes and all the lyrics here, whereas in previous episodes, I could be heard scurrying around, trying to find the lyrics of songs that ostensibly I'm very familiar with.
So there was a lot of Barry just going click, 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 bug, click, click, click,
yeah. Keep talking. Yeah. So Green Eyes, Grant Hart.
Oh yeah, this is a great Grant Hart song.
Yeah.
Very catchy song, and it's another just like one of his sweet love songs. There's like no irony in this song, really. No dark. Some of his love songs he has could have a little dark edge to it, but I don't think there's no dark edge in this. It's just a love song about a girl with green eyes and him getting lost in her green eyes.
It's a love song about someone with green eyes.
Yeah. Oh, well, yes, that's true. Okay, that's true. Yeah,
but he does not explicitly say in this song.
He doesn't, but I feel like he always in the tradition of love song.
Yeah, true.
He would write,
I agree.
He would write that. But yeah, that's definitely a good point. And
I knew someone who was hanging around with them at this juncture and may have claimed to me at some point that this was about her.
Oh, so, okay.
I won't go any further.
I think we should, we talk about things sometimes like we assume everyone knows, but we should point out that Bob Mould is a
gay man.
Gay man, was a gay man, and didn't come out right away. It must have been hard for him coming up in the punk scene, and then did come out.
Well, I think it was actually. I think some of the shade that got thrown at them was in fact because there were two gay members of the band.
Right. Well, and Grant Hart, I guess, was a bisexual. I mean, he comes bisexual. Yeah. He's been with women and with men.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of a unusual thing to have a band, three-piece band.
And it wasn't well known until I remember the person that told me the song. They thought the song was about them. Also, was the one who said, "Oh, and by the way, they're Bob and Grant are gay," and I was like, "What? Really?"
I know, right? And the first time you heard, and the first thing you assume is not the bass player with the big mustache.
Right. Yeah, that's not the right.
That's the
exactly.
Straight guy.
No, yeah, it was weird. Right.
But just a little thing. And one other thing about this song, Green Eyes, that I want to point out is that it has a thing that I love in songs. At the end, he keeps singing the chorus and the chords change. So he's singing Green Eyes, and then the chords change, which takes it to like a different musical level. And I love when bands do that.
Yep.
And it's very effective. And then at the end, it's got the down, like a Beatles, almost like a Beatles, like anything. And it's just really good. It's great. So I love this song.
So we're going to take a break.
Is that the end of side? No, it's not the end of side one, is it?
Well,
do you need Barry? Do you need to take a break, Barry?
We're about halfway through. Our
time. We are.
So,
okay,
and there's two instrumentals at the end. So the chat about them is going to be a little shorter.
Okay, let's. Barry needs to be refilled. He needs.
It's on me. Put it on me. That's fine.
What do you do?
Okay, we're back. Our drinks are refreshed. That's Rob Elba.
That is Barry Stock. You're listening to
That Record Got Me High. Episode
5.
And we're discussing
Hüsker Dü, Flip Your Wig.
Their fourth album, their first self-produced album. See if I got any more interesting factoids about this record. Robert Christgau declared in the Village Voice that with the album's production, the band had never sounded so good.
Not an opinion shared by Mr. Barry Stock.
Just my opinion, man. Just like the dude, Bob Mould saw Flip Your Wig as the best album Hüsker Dü ever did. So
Bob Mould says that, which probably would tell you maybe it's not. Usually, because when someone in a band says it's their best record, it's usually not. But I know there are other people that say that this is their favorite record.
Yeah, sure.
I know people that say that. Like
maybe this record is the perfect balance of aggro Hüsker Dü and melodic Hüsker Dü.
It's a really good balance of it, and I will tell you this record has at least two of my all-time favorite Bob Mould songs, and one of them is the one we're doing right now, song number 6, which is Divide and Conquer.
Divide and Conquer.
Bob Mould This song just slays me. And this song, I could listen to this song over and over on repeat. When I get up in the morning, I could put this on and this would get me going. This song is an amazing song. He basically screams through most of the whole song.
Yeah.
And there's basically no chorus in the song.
No.
It's just verse.
Well, he said
verse,
divide and conquer, divide and conquer.
At the end, they save
yeah.
the chorus right at the end. They'll do the chorus. But this song just, I don't know.
Good drink, bartender. Good drink.
Thank you.
Rob Elba is the bartender at House de Franklin.
At House de Franklin, and Barry's the tech guy.
Yeah.
And we're
So this song has some parallels with a song by the band Wire off of their album 154. And there's a song called Map Reference off 154, which I could dig the lyrics up, but discusses the division of land into countries.
Really?
Yes, it does.
I know that.
And that may be a record that we'll hit up one day, because 154 is a pretty remarkable document.
Do you think a young Bob Mould might have listened to that?
I think absolutely. I think. I mean, the thing that's known about Hüsker Dü, I believe, is that they were big Mission of Burma fans, and I think if I think there's actually there's a parallel on one of the instrumentals that I could
definitely draw a line between Wire and Mission of Burma.
Absolutely. Mission of Burma are huge Wire fans,
right.
And then I believe Hüskers were big Mission of Burma fans, and probably Wire fans as well. Those records were around, everybody was listening to them.
Right.
So this song is a lot more angry than the Wire tune. Right. The Wire tune is much more English and reserved and sort of wry, and this is much more finger poking in your chest.
Yes, even for Bob Mould, this is an angry song, even for him. And some of it's this song, so this came out in what, 1984?
5, yeah, 4 or 5.
And some of it's
5-ish.
So prescient. Is that
true, yeah, you got it, man.
We'll invent some new computers, link up the global village, and get AP, UPI routers to tell everybody the news.
That's right. And they did. That's true. I expect I won't be heard because my silence is assured. Never a discouraging word. They divide and conquer. So, Big Brother, and if only he knew how prescient he was. I guess he does. But it's a lot. What's the end of la 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 la? Isn't there a la 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 bit in this one?
Well, listen, I love at the end when he does a na na, but he goes listen, but he keeps saying listen before that, and it reminds me kind of like, you remember Motown, the old Motown song.
Oh yeah, sure.
Listen, girl, and he goes listen, and then they do the little na 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 things at the end.
All right.
But I love the whole concept of the fact that because we're all so spread out now, or now then, I mean, this was how long ago, 30 years ago, but he says, we'll be one happy neighborhood spread out across the world. Who's going to stop that burglar from breaking into my house if he lives that far away?
Right. Well, that's the cyber burglar, which I suspect most of us have had our credit card stolen.
Yes.
By a cyber burglar.
Probably someone that's listening now.
I've had mine stolen enough times that I thought maybe I'll just go fucking steal a credit card, somebody's credit card, and buy some shit because come on.
Disclaimer: Barry's stock is not going to.
I'm not technically capable of that, but
You wouldn't do that.
So the next song, I actually like the next song a lot better than I do Divide and Conquer.
Really? But this is another great Bob Mould song,
great
back to back. Games.
Songs.
This is his games. People play like games. I mean,
I think that's his for the Hüskers during the Hüskers. This boils down his lyrical obsessions pretty much in one. 5 stanzas is that he, it's a game and a game that anyone can play. He just.
It's about people they're playing parts or they're pretending to be important.
Yep. And it's a mask. It's all bullshit.
Right,
and
it's all games.
It's all games. This one gets stuck in my head. So. actually, it's an odd thing to notice when we do these podcasts is that you will spend that week with those songs just stuck in your head. And so I had these Hüsker songs stuck in my head all week. And then if I would go, like I would go back.
Barry, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I would go back and listen to something off Zen Arcade, something off.
Right. Same thing.
And I have a stark confession to make here, and that I have never listened to Warehouse.
What?
Because the production is so atrocious that I actually, and I put it on Spotify, and during the first song I just said I'm not going to make it. I can't stand it.
This is a man who will listen to the worst recorded bootleg.
Yep.
Velvet Underground tape. He'll send me this thing. Listen to this Velvet. Then play Sister Ray for 25 minutes, where it sounds like it was recorded with someo's transistor radio in their pocket. He'll listen to that, but he'll complain about this. Okay.
Well, because
Barry, stop, ladies and gentlemen.
Here's the difference. Here's the difference. Is that one of those things was the only way you're ever going to get to hear that. And the other thing, this Warehouse, it's something that someone did intentionally. And
well, I will tell you, there were some great songs on Warehouse. There were some great. I'm going to make you a little mini Warehouse with like 6 songs in it, and they're great.
You can just tell me the songs, and I'll just listen to them.
I'm not going to do any of that.
You can make me a cassette.
You're not going to want to listen to any Hüsker Dü after this. I know for a while. You're going to need to take a Hüsker break.
Yeah. That's true.
That's fine.
That's true.
Fair enough.
All right.
That ends side 1 of Flip Your Wig. Side 2, we start side 2 with another Bob Mould song. And this
3 in a row. 3 Bobs in a row.
Yes, that's right. Keeping the less than 45% or less Grand song. Keeping the math.
I just made a face. Yeah.
Find Me. This song is called Find Me. And this is a very mournful sounding song. And this song also has kind of like a Middle Eastern feel to it a little.
Because it has a droney aspect to it. It's a gooder. This one's a good song.
It's good, and it's another Bob Mould desperation, just as like desperation. He says, "There's a 1,000 million voices. They're screaming in my eyes." Apocalyptic.
Probably why I like it better than the other songs.
Creatures in the forest, sirens in the sky.
When I walked around and cried a lot, I thought that I would die. Find me. So it's when Bob, I think, really reveals emotional vulnerability in songs, is when he sometimes has his best songs. There's a tune on Zen Arcade called Whatever, about talking about his mom and dad, and being disappointed in him.
Right. And you can tell, I don't know, have you read his autobiography?
I have
See
not.
a Little Light? You should, because that's definitely a big part of him. And it's really good. It's a hard read, because you can tell he's been through a lot, and he's got a lot of anger. I mean, I'm hoping when that book is done, he still has a lot of anger. I'm hoping he's worked.
When was that written? When was that from?
Anger.
What's the vintage on that?
It's kind of recent. I mean, I read it. It's within the last 10 years, I want to say. So it's kind of recent, but it's good. It's really good. But yeah, he definitely has a lot of. Well,
anger is can face it. Bob Mould that's Bob Mould's contribution to Hüsker Dü is just every night he would get up there and sing angry songs at the top of his voice.
Right.
And his guitar sound, he has this really very harsh, abrasive guitar sound.
Abrasive, right, harsh, and that was something that was great about Hüsker Dü, was that you had the Grant Hart songs, which it was like he just wanted to write a really like a nice sweet song, and there were sweet songs, but they were still played really aggressively and hard. But then you have the Bob songs where he was you knew he wanted to get shit out. He wanted to get the shit out.
Well, there's actually a funny, oddly enough, there's a parallel with one of the bands that they. My understanding is that they liked a lot. Mishnah Burma was that the Clint Conley songs in Mishnah Burma are more melodic, and Clint's voice is much more. It's much sweeter than the Roger Miller songs, which
Right.
tend to be angrier and more angular and abrasive. So, and there's the Grant Bob dichotomy there as well.
Yes, yes. That's good. That's a good point.
Then we move on to
The Baby, which this isn't a song. Let's say, I mean, this isn't a song.
oh
It's
no,
called
this annoys the shit out of me.
The Baby song.
Just to be honest with you, I when I was about halfway through this, I was like, this is really annoying. I just skipped it.
The definition of a dumb filler song. You'd have to know there had to be some weed involved with this song. There had to be some marijuana involved, where someone thought this was a good idea to play.
Okay. Here's when I was talking with my wife about this record, and I had an epiphany about the production on this album, about these later Hüsker Dü records. And I'm going to confess, I am not much of a drug taker, but the sound of it is always.
You know that's true because people who do drugs don't call themselves drug takers.
Yeah. Everyone who knows me is gonna say, yeah, Barry, he's pretty square.
Yeah, we're kind of square.
Kind of square. But I always thought that the sound of these records was someone who was like what someone described like whippets were like. Like nitrous oxide. So you did something. We did something. It's a tank of nitrous, and then we went to mix the album. And then the Baby song is just. There's some songs.
It's not a song. It's not. Don't even call it a song.
And there's some songs on some Black Sabbath records that are like that. Where we were like, they just had needed some filler for publishing.
Filler. I don't even know why, but let's just get rid of this.
Keep rolling.
It goes into number 10 song,
Flexible Flyer,
which is one of my all-time favorite Grant Hart songs.
Yep. It is.
Flexible Flyer. This is just a sweet, like, lost youth song singing about, something he remembers as Flexible Flyer. For you people that, Barry, did you immediately know what it was? Because you're a South boy, a Southern boy, right?
Yeah, but I would go visit my dad in Illinois in the winter and in the summer, but in the winter. So
you would do some sledding.
And when my first visit to Illinois, I got on a sled with my stepbrother, and I was in the front and he was in the back, and this guy who lived across the street from us, who was ostensibly in charge of us, he pushed us and he aimed us right at a tree, and I went straight into a tree. And they had to pull me home on a sled. I was laying down, and I kept saying I'm sleepy, and they were like, "Don't go to sleep." I think I had a concussion. So
you had a concussion for sure. Then
I did, yeah.
This is a beautiful song, and there's a part I'm wondering. I did something Barry usually does. I did some amateur. Analysis on this, and there's a part where he says, if the wheels of your wagon are rusty, you can paint them until they are new. You can roll down a hill, but if you can't, then I pity you. And I wonder, when he's saying I pity you, if he's talking about Bob.
Yeah, maybe
about Bob Mould.
I listened and read to some Grant Hart interviews from, some of them were quite a bit later, some of them from about 10 years ago. And he was complaining about really the Bob's controlling nature, and wanting to, where Grant really wanted things to be more loose and spontaneous and not picked over or worked over so much. And I'm certain that that's a good guess.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
See, you're.
But I don't know any. Frankly, I haven't read anything about these guys' upbringings. I don't know if they had middle class. What if they were poor? I don't know jack shit about if their parents were just like working stiffs.
Bob Mould for sure was that.
Yeah, they're from a working stiff area of the country.
Yeah.
So,
and I know there's a part in Bob's book that's really when the band broke up. Right towards the end, he had a meeting. Him and Grant Hart had a meeting together, and Grant Hart's parents were there too.
Oh shit!
And Bob Mould was really pissed about that. That he had his parents were like part of the meeting. So
Well, but when you sign with a major label, there's a lot of money involved. But what bands don't understand is you have to pay the money back, and that usually there's debts at the end of when a band breaks up, and a band can spend years, like guys can spend years trying to pay off debts too, or just go bankrupt.
Right.
Do you have some experience with that?
I don't have any experience.
Okay, so Holy Terror's never.
No one's ever given us.
No, Holy Terror's never.
Well, we got money, but we never bothered worrying about paying it back. No one's ever come after us for it.
Yeah, so
there wasn't much. One thing about this song I wanted to point out was that Bob plays a really great solo in this. Melodic solo.
Yeah.
That really goes, and that's one thing that I noticed. Even both of them really elevated each other's songs a lot. Bob, with obviously his guitar work in a lot of Grant Hart songs, he would play these really great melodic leads. And Grant Hart with his backing vocals.
Yeah, sure.
Some
He's
great backing vocals
great background vocals.
So they both elevated each other, even though probably at this point they probably hate. I'll tell you what, after reading Bob Mould's book, and people would say to me, "Oh, you think Hüsker Dü would ever come back?" And I'd say, "No, that's one band that will never get back together."
Well, I watched an interview with Grant Hart and Greg Norton where they were sitting backstage or somewhere, and somebody was talking to him, and somebody asked if Hüsker Dü was ever going to get back together, and he goes, "Yeah," and it would be in the district court of So
they're like in the Smiths territory.
We might as well go ahead and bring up here that Grant Hart had whether he was an addict, he was a heroin user, and he began using heroin around this period
this period, yes, and I totally get that. I get that you're playing in a band with a guy that all of a sudden has got the little heroin thing. I know that could be, that's something horrible.
That's not an unknown thing in the South Florida scene,
right? No, it's not, and it's got to be really because you can't.
We know some people who never could tour because they were not able to find a dealer. They didn't have enough connections to be assured of being able to score in any city that they were in.
Yes, and that's a big thing. I have a little.
Those people are now deceased.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? A Gun Club, one of my all-time favorite bands.
Sure.
The Gun Club played a show down here. Richard Shelter brought them down here in the early 80s to one of his clubs. He brought the Gun Club down to play a show. And they flew. We was going to provide the backline for him and everything.
Yeah,
they flew down. And
they have a record called Miami, goddammit.
That's right. Well, when they were down here, they played that show. He was writing songs for Miami song.
Yeah.
This was after the first record, Fire of Love, came out. So they get here. They get off the plane. The first thing they said to Richard is, "Where can we get some dope?"
Yeah. And then we're talking about weed.
Yes, and
when someone says,
and the great Jeffrey Lee Pierce is no longer with us anymore.
But I believe he actually switched from heroin to alcohol.
He didn't die of heroin.
Alcohol was.
But I'm sure that didn't help. I'm sure that didn't help in his.
Probably not. Well, I'm sure Grant Hart, he had Hep C.
Yeah.
And that probably he had liver cancer. Think about the people that have died of liver cancer. Lou Reed, hepatitis C.
Yeah, that's right.
Eventually it's going to get you. And what kind of cancer killed Bowie?
Oh, yeah. No, I meant that.
So the hepatitis has killed. And actually, my wife has a close relative, second cousin, who was a very famous jazz musician. And he lived in France for a long time, and when he came back to the country, he had a position at the Boston Conservatory. That's the place where a lot of times that older jazz guys, they'll give them a position, and so they can sort of survive.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't a junkie anymore.
Right.
But and when he died, they said, he died of cancer, but a little digging. It was hepatitis. It was byproduct of having Hep C or hepatitis from dirty needles for a long time ago.
And we didn't again, for the people that are not that deep into Hüsker Dü and know the band, Grant Hart is no longer with us. He
died last year, 2017.
Last year, so he's no longer with us.
And he looked gradually more ill as time went on.
He did, yeah. He did not look good.
There's a interview from 2008 from I guess it's a Minneapolis TV show where hipster cat, not unlike Rob Alba and myself, is sitting there in a studio interviewing him, and he is his teeth are fucked up and he looks a little shaky.
Yeah, he had the
teeth.
Right.
And I just wonder. I mean, I just don't know if he cleaned up, or if, like William Burroughs, he discovered that he just needed methadone to survive.
Yes, right. That's what it sort of seemed to me like he wasn't totally cleaned up the last time.
I mean,
times I see it. But that's kids. This is what happens. It's all,
Charlie Parker got all the jazz musicians hooked on heroin, and one of my heroes, William Burroughs, got a lot of rock musicians to try heroin, and it was not a.
God damn it. All right, let's move on.
Well, we got sidetracked, didn't we?
We got track 11 is Private Plane, and it's the Bob Mould song Private Plane.
Which is ironic, considering that they would sign with a major, and some of the things that he complains about in here would be...
Yes, that he complains. What a shocker. Stuff Bob, this is another Stuff Bob complains about song.
Yeah, but that people would complain about them.
Yes, but definitely this song, which I didn't realize at all until I just read the lyrics this week, that the dual meaning of it is the plane. He's also talking about you're on your private plane as your level of
astral plane. Jonathan
existence.
Richman.
Yes.
Meet me on the astral plane, baby, or your own private plane.
Yeah.
You're on your own level, and you're not going to come down and engage with me because I'm angry.
Right, and I feel like this is definitely a very autobiographical song for him, because I feel like Bob Mould is a person that probably feels like he's sort of isolated on his own little private plane.
I think so. I can't imagine him denying that based on all the lyrical evidence and evidence from. Although I do know someone who had their boyfriend stolen by Bob Mould. That was
really,
yeah. And
Brian Franklin.
I
just ignored the owner of the house we're recording in. Brian Franklin was calling me.
Who can probably see us on a camera.
And I totally just ignored his call. God damn it, Brian! We're
send a text, Brian.
We're recording a podcast in your house. Leave us alone.
Yeah. Are you guys done? Diane's complaining. She wants you to leave.
So that's Private Plane, and then we go into, which to me, this is the last track of the record, because this is the last song.
It is.
It's the 12th song. It's Keep Hanging On. It's a Grant Hart song. Keep Hanging On. And there are two instrumentals after this, but this is really like the last song.
This is the last song.
It is the last song.
And you wonder, it's weird why they piled up two instrumentals at the end of the record.
Yeah, I don't know. I got to think they're both Bob instrumentals, and I got to think maybe it's just something that he wanted to do and throw on there. And they're cool. I mean, I don't.
Well, I got something to say about each one, so we can.
All right, let's do.
Talk about Keep Hanging On.
Let's do Keep Hanging On right now. This is the Grant Hart song, and this is another one of his songs. You know what? His lyrics are so.
Only angels have wings.
Yeah, they're so sincere and childlike.
And poets have all the words.
Yes.
The earth belongs to the two of us, and the sky belongs to the birds.
Right. On some levels, they sound like they could be written by a depressed 12-year-old girl.
They are.
But they're
maybe
still,
Grant Hart is a depressed 12-year-old girl.
I think probably in his heart he probably was, but. Yeah. He still wrote great songs,
but he delivers.
He totally
delivers the passion. So you can sing about fucking used tires.
Yeah.
If you can deliver the passion, it doesn't matter.
Right.
You know?
And so the message of this song is what the title is, Keep Hanging On. And I love this song. He sings this song. It's out of his range for almost the entire song.
He sings way at the top of his range.
At the top of his range, and for the entire song. But
it would be funny if he sang at the bottom of his range and couldn't reach it. That would be weird.
And no one does that. But to his credit, he doesn't switch over to falsetto. He does it, and his voice is cracking at parts, but it's great. I love that. And he's reaching...
Which is almost like a Bob Mould thing to do.
And also, it's almost, I was thinking, it's almost like he's hanging on. He's just hanging on.
Yeah, I think it's...
singing it.
He's got the whole package, and this is one of the better songs. This is one of the best songs on the record.
It's great. It's great.
It's beautiful. It's got intensity. And he's talking about mundane things in the door. The key turn in the door. The cat walks to the window. The roof opens up to the sun. The crows flying in parallel lines. And golly, isn't this great fun? but the underlying tone is one of desperation and, not being sure what's going to happen.
Right. Yeah, this is one of his where it does have a little underlying to his sweet lyrics.
Yeah, you got to keep me hanging on. There are some other songs about hanging on out there.
Yes.
That have a similar feeling.
And so this is a great album closer, but it is not the album closer.
It's not. There's two instrumentals.
Because we have
the Wit and the Wisdom.
The Wit and the Wisdom, which by the way, I feel like, don't you feel like both of these would fit on Zen Arcade? These could have been something
definitely
on Zen Arcade.
Because they have that, especially Wit and the Wisdom.
Yes.
Definitely has the feeling of some of the more angular stuff that was on Zen Arcade. Beyond the Threshold. And there was something on Zen Arcade that were much less melodic.
Right. But this is cool. I like this. I like it. It's interesting. It's got a.
Do you know? I was listening to it and I thought, it's a weird thing that it reminded me of, and I went and listened to it and I couldn't find an exact parallel. But they soundtrack to a terrible new wave movie that's got an incredible soundtrack called Liquid Sky. Remember Liquid Sky?
Yes.
Liquid Sky was recorded with an early Fairlight synthesizer, which was a sampling synthesizer, and some of the sound of some of the harmonies and stuff, and the way this song is arranged reminded me out of stuff on Liquid Sky. So I went and listened to some of the Liquid Sky soundtrack.
What year was Liquid Sky?
82, 81. I remember seeing it in a midnight movie in Orlando, So, and the movies, it's awful, but the soundtrack is great. It's a weird thing. So, and don't know yet. I know exactly where this comes from.
Oh, okay. How do you know?
I know because of the Mission to Burma connection.
Right.
Roger Miller from Mission to Burma was in a group called Bird Songs of the Mesozoic.
Bird Songs of the Mesozoic. And yes, I remember them.
This Don't Know Yet is directly, seriously influenced by the first Bird Songs of the Mesozoic EP. When you hear that, when I heard the track, I was like, oh, this is just like Bird Songs.
Awesome. And Bird Songs was like this experimental
some
thing that
Boston
he did
guys.
after
after Burma.
After the first time Burma
Burma's first incarnation.
Right. Oh, that's great, because I thought it reminded me a little of My Bloody Valentine, like something they would have as an interlude in their song or something.
But that's great. I really believe it's.
I'm sure you're right.
Straight out of the first Bird Songs of the Mesozoic.
There's definitely a lot of Mission to Burma parallels going on, so that's cool. That's good. And there's always backwards. This song now, I can't tell is everything backwards or some stuff.
Well, one way to figure out whether everything's backwards is to play the whole thing backwards, and then just.
Did you do that?
I have not done that.
Oh, Barry.
Sure, yeah. It was a busy week. I had a busy week.
He did have a busy week.
Yeah.
Yo, you should have seen. If we could somehow show you what Barry looked like when he walked in here, it's amazing that we got through this.
Yeah, I might drink a third drink before I drive back down Hollywood, Florida.
But okay, so that's the album ends for real with this very weird instrumental. That's a lot of it's backwards, but it's cool. It's interesting. The last two, they didn't need to be there. There could have been 12-song record, and
or they could have been interspersed somewhere. They could have been put.
Yeah, to end it with two.
The sequencing is.
Yeah, it's almost like they said, "Oh, you know what?
What are we going to do? Just put them on the end." They could have, but
that could be the sort of Hüsker Dü's career in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Just throw the two in the end, whatever.
Yeah. So you think they're the greatest punk band ever?
I didn't. I posted that. That was not my saying. I looked on. I did online like Hüsker Dü, and there's like a definition online, like they call it like the wiki definition.
Yeah, sure.
Some definition where it said the number one was greatest punk band ever, and number two was the Child's Game that it was named after, called Do You Remember? So I don't know, but I will tell you.
I don't know if they're exactly a punk rock band.
Well, that's it. For me, I will tell you right now, I think we come at different things, because I could definitely safely say that Hüsker Dü is probably in my top 5 of favorite bands ever.
I would say that at one point they were incredibly influential on my musical upbringing. In fact, I was in a band that opened for Volcano Suns, And Peter Prescott goes, it sounds like you listen to a lot of Hüsker Dü. And
I've had people say that to me too, because
they cast, definitely I listened to them, and definitely it got in there.
Yeah. Highly influential, great band. Punk. I would say they're a punk band, even though they definitely, after the first couple of records they did, they definitely expanded past that. And, the thing with Hüsker Dü, that one of the things I love about them is they're sort of their own little thing. I mean, there's how many other bands can you name that were like that? That had a drummer that sang these like more singer-songy, folky type songs, and this.
They were singular, and they generated a lot of resentment but from other underground bands.
Did they really? I didn't know that.
They were they were the first ones to sign with a major, and I think they caught a lot of, I won't name names, but I don't think you would have to look far to find some of their people who made snide comments about Hüsker Dü, including some people records we reviewed in a previous episode.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's kind of disappointing in a way, because I just, I guess it's the same thing, I'm sure.
Well, there are things that we don't know, too.
Oh, of course.
People interact on the road, or they have interactions with people. And
right.
And you never meet your heroes. Once again, it comes up.
Although Barry and Rob, if you take one thing from this podcast,
apparently, I know somebody that met David Bowie and that's hung out with him for like 2 hours, and
a delight. He was a
fantastic.
Delight, right?
Yeah,
of course.
Exactly.
Yes, of course he was.
So next week, it's
my
pick.
What are we doing next week?
An album that is. From a band that was incredibly influential and incredibly groundbreaking at the time, and they had one of the greatest guitar players that ever touched a guitar, John McGeoch. We're going to do Magazine, The Correct Use of Soap,
nice,
the third Magazine record, and one which is chock full of Howard Devoto's dark and very intellectually amusing lyrics. So I'm looking forward to it.
And that's great that you picked that record, because I had a magazine on my list that maybe to do, but I did not have that record.
Which one were you? What were you going to pick? First one?
Yeah.
Real Life?
Yeah. But no, that's great. I'm excited to do that. Unlike you, I won't make a big stink about it, and my wife won't be sending you messages. Why did you pick that? But just kidding, Susan. It's a joke. All right, real quick.
It's a joke. He's just joking on me.
Any other podcasts you'd like to recommend? Anything you've been listening to?
What was I listening to? Well, I talked about Felonious Florida last week. Frankly, the other podcasts I listen to are political, and they are.
Do you listen to political podcasts?
I do a lot.
God bless your heart.
Well, I need to search out. I need to search for hope, and listening to these people who are able to put things into a broader context, or to analyze the comings and goings of the current situation.
So what do you listen? What's a political podcast?
I listen to. Let's see what's on my podcast list.
Trump Must Die podcast. Or something?
Yeah, like that. Let's see. Trump Inc.
Okay. There is Trump.
Pod Save America. The Daily from the New York Times is great. Stay Tuned with Preet Bharara is fantastic.
Oh, yes. I have listened to that before. That's
and Lawfare Podcast with Benjamin Wittes is also fantastic.
How could you listen to so many serious podcasts, though?
I'm a serious guy, Rob. I'm not. I don't.
Well, I listen. I've been listening to another local podcast, Honey Talks with Brady Newbill, and it's Pure Honey Magazine.
Yeah.
And they just started up as well. They've got about I think 3 or 4.
They trying to steal our listeners?
No, that's okay. We could piggyback on them. But Brady does a really good job, and he did one. The latest one was Thelma and the Sleaze, and it's great because he interviewed the main girl in Thelma and the Sleaze, which I can't think of her name. Her name's not Thelma.
We're going to edit that in.
But
when you
they
hear the
also,
voice change, someone said,
"It's this." But they also played up in West Palm, and then they played a little of their actually live show, which was really cool. So that's Honey Talks with Brady Newble. That's a good one. And I think we did. I think we did it. I think we did Hüsker Dü, Flip Your Wig.
Pretty good, yeah.
Neither of us dived over the table at each other.
I think that was going to happen.
I'll probably have to call Brian back and see what the hell he wanted.
Yeah, I'm curious.
What his problem was.
The owner of this, what the insolence of the,
How dare you?
calling us in the middle of our.
All right, once again, this is Electric Diamond. That's Barry Stock.
That's Rob Elba. We'll see you in 7 minutes.